when something like this happens, and obviously this is unprecedented, but when you have a major crisis happen especially in your business, you want to kind of get a lay of the land and kind of check in with yourself and check in with your kind of immediate surroundings, your immediate family. And then the next thing you want to check in is you want to check in with your team. You want to check in with where people are and how people are doing. So I just want to kind of open this up to the team members and just check in and see, how are you guys doing right now? Where are you right now, just personally, mentally? Yeah, you can feel free to unmute yourself. This is very casual. This isn't as structured as some other calls we've had with your owners. This was really for you, and wanted to, first of all, acknowledge you, acknowledge your courage through all of this. And realize that there's most likely an array of emotions that are happening, from up, from down, to worse, to medium. And, I just think it's important to really kind of pause for just a minute to just recognize what's actually happening right now, and to kind of take a check on how we're doing. Because it's so easy to marginalize our feeling, because not only are we focused on the people we're taking care of, the patients and their needs, but we also got our family's needs. And if you have children, you got their needs and their well-being. And sometimes we just gloss over our own. And we say, oh, no, we're good. I'm good. I'm fine. I just need to focus on helping others, and focus on others, and focus on the significant others and the kids and the patients. And I just want to just pause for a minute to check in with you. Julie, you want to start us off? Go ahead.
I will. So I guess at times I get a little anxious. I definitely have a little anxiety, because I don't want to bring whatever my patients have back to my house. And I don't want to bring maybe something from my house back to the patients. So sometimes I'm absolutely fine, and other times I'm like, ah. So that's how I'm feeling.
Does anybody else have that same feeling of,
my family is like really, and like they all work for healthcare. Like my mom works for Northwestern, my sister works for Delnor, so they're like hands-on. My sister like works with people every day, so it's like, I mean, we do too, but I feel like we're not in the ER where people are coming in with the COVID-19. So it's like, okay, hopefully we're safe here. Yeah.
So you kind of, are you feeling that way too? That,
I mean, I feel okay, but my dad's freaking out, because he's like in his 50s and has heart problems. So
he's freaking out personally, or is he freaking out because of you?
Oh, he's freaking out because he doesn't want to get sick.
What else?
Jamie, I'll speak.
Yeah, Jessica.
I'm like, raise my hand. No, I think I identify with a lot of what you said initially. I think that, as leaders, we tend to just put one foot in front of the other and continue to move forward. And especially if you're the leader at a clinic, you have to, and try to keep it positive as much as possible, and optimistic for the team. And it often is overlooked on how people are doing internally. And so I'm anxious as well. I have almost an 8-month-old at home, and my husband's working from home right now. I think that the hardest part is trying to, and while I'm seeing a lot of my other friends that are physical therapists lose hours and lose their structure, their income, their schedule, all of that, while we continue forward, which is really great and a blessing. So it's kind of that internal conflict of, I'm thankful that I'm continuing to work and to serve patients that really need the help. But then also the social responsibility of, are we helping or hurting, and trying to just that internal conflict that's going on. But knowing that we do have a really big population that wants to come in and that wants to be served and wants to be helped. And that's why we got into this profession. So yeah, I think that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, thank you. And you're not alone. And, I appreciate you saying that, because you're probably saying what a lot of people are feeling. I think one of the things that I know for me, looking at what the situation is, and I've had clinics and I've had patients, and, we've never experienced something like this, but we have experienced other crazy events, fires and stuff like that. But, this one is a cross between the financial safety and security from a financial standpoint. Like you mentioned, Jessica, people losing jobs, hours getting significantly reduced, uncertainty everywhere. And then there's kind of the human aspect of safety for myself, safety for my family, and safety for, am I going to cause patients to be sick? Are patients going to get me sick? And then I'm going to affect my family. There's so much of that fear. And rightfully so. Who else wants to speak to that? And again, I really want to just start with the staff, the people that maybe haven't had a chance to kind of speak these feelings. Anybody else feeling like that?
Yeah.
Can I see that? So,
Go ahead.
all right, I just have a question. I'm just curious what other clinics are doing aside from cleaning every single piece of equipment with Clorox wipes and whatever to protect ourselves, because obviously being PTs, we can't keep the 6 feet of social distancing. So is there anything in particular that you're doing to, I don't know, try to put up some sort of barrier? Or I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we'll get into some, kind of shares that we can do for sure, and shares that are people. I just want to kind of pause for a moment, because we've been focused for the last week, 2 weeks on just going. And I just think it's important just to pause to really acknowledge and reflect of what's happening, and to be able to share this.
I think Jessica actually said it really well. I kind of feel like I'm walking into the lion's den every day, but I want to, because I think that there's patients that really, they really need it. And I see, that how we are necessary in certain cases. And I really feel passionate about that. But I can't help but worry about, I'm single. I come home. I don't have to worry about a family. I don't have to worry about seeing other people. I social distance from my friends. I start over every day because I go to the clinic every day. But I think there's a lot of worry for my team. They have little kids, they have sick parents, they go home to a husband or a wife. And so I worry about them financially. I think from my standpoint, I've been able to stay, thankfully, very positive. I've been able to meditate and ride my bike, and prayer is very important to me. And I feel like from a personal standpoint, I'm doing okay, but that anxiety for my team, I can definitely feel it. As we're sitting here, my phone's going off like crazy, them want to talk to me. Can you call? I got to talk to you about this. And just that constantly, looking out for their well-being as well.
Yeah. I really love what you said, especially about you're focusing on yourself. I mean, we've all, maybe not recently last week, but we've all taken planes, and the flight attendant comes on and says what we usually just ignore, in an event of emergency and the oxygen mask falls, put it on yourself first, and then your child next to you, because if you don't put it on yourself, you're going to be lying on the floor and you're not going to be good to anybody. And I think that message is critical right now and easily overlooked, just like it's overlooked when we're sitting on the plane. We put the headphones in and we're like, yeah. And it's so important that you're doing things for you: meditation, journaling, exercise, whatever else helps you get into a good mental space. And then, you're talking about being there for others. And I'll just give you my perspective on it. And I know many of the lighthouses, the group that we're a part of. And if you don't know me, by the way, I'm Jamey. I'm the one that's in charge of this, that's working with the owners and helping build this business and helping support you in doing this and creating something that is special in your community. That's the purpose of what we're doing here. Now so more than ever. I think it's the idea of what you truly believe. Because if you believe that we are the solution and we've always been the solution, if you believe that, and you believe that we are helping in this pandemic, and of course, taking the CDC guidelines and everything else to ensure, with no guarantee, and that's the scary part, no guarantee, we can certainly pass this virus to each other. That is a possibility. However, unlikely, if you just look at percentages, it still is a possibility. There still is that fear and worry. But if you believe that and feel that, Kristen, as you mentioned, it allows you to take some of that anxious and fear and to put it out into other people and help them in their time of need, whether it's virtually or in person. And that, again, that's a decision. But if you believe that, as I do, and I know as many of the owners do, then it helps you get out of your own self and your own fears and worries to focus on others. And you're seeing the compassion, you're seeing what's happening worldwide. You're seeing different companies. I just heard, was it Boeing has like some of the largest planes in the world, or I think these, and they're giving them to the government to move supplies, unbelievable amounts of supplies. So people are showing that compassion. I know in my neighborhood, they're creating care packages for hospitals and in Baltimore to just support the people working there, the 12-hour shifts. So there's an unbelievable amount of compassion, and that's what I feel we can play that role right now. Everyone has a period of, and I did too, I had a day and a half of feeling sorry for myself and feeling a victim and feeling like, oh, what am I going to do now? This whole program is going to fall to shit and all the work that I've done is gone. And then I said, or I can step up and be there for my members, be there for my clients, be there for them and their team. And God, it's been so much more fulfilling doing that and feel so much better doing that. I want to hear from you guys, from the team. What do you believe? What do you feel? And is that aligned and a part of what the census of the clinic is? I just want to kind of address that situation, just talk about that for a few minutes. Anybody want to chime in there? Do you believe that? Is that what you believe as far as your purpose? Or you're like, you know what? I don't believe it in person, but I do believe it virtually and providing that way. Like there's no right or wrong answer, and there's no judgment. We're just talking. Anybody want to chime in on that?
I'll go again.
I'm going to see if someone else wants to chime, but go real quick since no one else is talking.
Well, I just talking about like the clinic. I don't know about everybody else, but like the clinic vibe's different because there's not everybody. I don't know how y'all are doing it, but we're not all in there. So like one day I have a PT on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's just her. So I think just the overall vibe with everything's been different. Maybe that will help some people out to start.
Oh yeah, I have the same people I work with because we're a smaller clinic. There's probably like only 10 people in our whole like clinic working and everything. But same people, but just condensed hours. So it's not changed in terms of that, but I'm there for like 4 hours instead of like 8 hours. So it is a little bit different because you're only there for a few hours and it flies by, but then it's like, yeah, so stuff like that.
Corey, like Kristen, do you believe in the work that you're doing at this time, and it's important to be there for your patients in either fashion, virtually or in person?
Yeah, I think it's important because I don't know if I was going to PT for an injury, I would feel more accountable if I was there. And then also a lot of the stuff, like, yeah, you can do your exercises like at your house, but like a lot of the manual therapies, especially if it's like post-surgery, you can't do by yourself. You don't have the knowledge, or like, you know, sometimes you need another person to help you. So I think it's important in that aspect. But also we also, like, if we have like high risk patients, like some people are like really old or really sick, like we've called them and said not to come in because they're like high risk and it's not worth it. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. So yeah.
Good.
I think for those
Anybody else?
we have, because I mean, we have some that are immunocompromised and things like that. It's really this virtual telehealth stuff that we're talking about doing is really good for those people, and specifically because they still need their PT. I mean, I can think of one patient in particular that he's doing light years better than even when I started, and it's only been a few months, and he cannot come in. He has to self-isolate. So being able to work virtually with him and with other patients like that would be beneficial to them for sure.
And you're currently doing that, right, Jackie?
I believe we're starting our virtual thing on Tuesday.
Oh, you're starting on Tuesday? Excellent.
Yeah, I think we're set. I don't know.
Excellent.
I think Joe has to look into billing and stuff. And then also we're doing like a Zoom video. So, and that's just like the AIDS. Yeah, I think is that what you're talking about, Jackie? Starting on Tuesday, the Zoom video?
Yeah, the Zoom video for doing exercise classes. And
yeah, that's for the public. And it's just like basic exercises we do that you can modify or put a variation in. So people aren't like bored, and people aren't like, you know, you sit there and you're like, wow, I'm bored. And you start thinking, and then it drives you crazy. So I think that's with Joe. And then telehealth, I think Joe, you have to use a certain platform for that. So Joe's setting that up, and hopefully can get a few patients to do that.
Absolutely. You can probably get a lot more than a few. So here's one of the things that I'm seeing with all of this. And here's how I think this can really come together more so than ever. Because under difficult circumstances like this, you can see that teams can come together. That happened in my own situation. You know, when my place burned to the ground, and all of a sudden you're like, well, what do you do now? Your equipment's being thrown out the window, your computers are gone, and you are done. Like, what do you do? And, you know, one of the things that happened is I reached out to my team and I said, I have no idea what we're going to be doing now. And they came together with their ideas. They came together with, you know, we're here to support, we're here to help. And I think that is what I'm seeing now with many or all of you, is wanting to help, wanting to be there, and wanting to support the owner, which obviously is having a lot more on their plate than they already did. And, you know, but getting back to this idea of being there for people, you know, being part of the solution, meeting people where they're at. Because some people are just in a basic survival mode right now. They're just, you got to meet them right there. And when you're doing even when you're doing your telehealth, or even if they come in the clinic, if you're still open, it's important to meet people at that level and not just race past into the touching and the exercise and the things like that. Really connect with them, because that ultimately is what's more important now than even the exercise of doing something.